Hey, what's up, guys? So, back with the Elantra again. Gonna do a couple things on it. Gonna change out the master cylinder and bleed the brakes in the process of that. The brake pedal pretty much goes all the way to almost all the way to the floor without any resistance. Like right there at the end, you can feel a little resistance. So it's most likely the master cylinder. Replace that. Bleed the brakes in the process. I'm gonna clean my mass airflow sensor because I found some cleaner for that. Going to also change out the camshaft position sensor and probably take out the blower motor and see how dirty that is, just to see if it helps out a little bit, clean that off. But yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so got the camshaft position sensor. This is what I'm hoping will get the car running really well, because it's been in limp mode for a while, and that's what'll happen if that thing goes out, amongst a lot of other problems. Paid 12 for that. Master cylinder, paid 66 for that. To bleed the brakes, we're just gonna need a zip tie, a little hose, and just a bottle. Alright, so here's where our camshaft position sensor is on this car. The plug, there is this little staple kind of looking piece right here. You just take a flathead, pull it out, and then this thing just pulls straight off the camshaft position sensor. Then you can just put it back on there just to, that way you don't lose it. Put that out of the way. And then right there is a 10mm bolt, and this thing just comes out. Alright, got the old one out, new one. Gonna put it in, plug it up, and see if it runs any better. Alright, so we got the new one in, got this clip on here, and then that little clip that holds it in just slides in that until you hear it click, and then that's not coming out. Alright, so I got that installed. Before I go out for a drive though, I'm going to change out the master cylinder. I will not be bleeding the brakes because I drove up onto the ramps and hit that end a little too hard, or a little too far, or whatever you want to call it, and they buckled, so now they're compromised. Yeah. So what I'm going to be doing is just using a turkey baster and just sucking all the brake fluid I can out of the reservoir and storing it, and then I'll just put it back in. The brake fluid on the top is actually fairly clean. So, got all the old brake fluid out of there that was on top. Doesn't look too bad. Regular, just like brand new, is clear, so I may or may not put that back in. I might just do just full new. But anyway, I'm gonna take this whole piece off so I'll have better access to the master cylinder. I believe there's a linkage thing, whatever, in there that I have to undo, that's behind the firewall. So I'm gonna do that. Just gotta, I think it's a 10 here. Take this off, undo this vacuum line, unhook this, undo the battery before I do that as well, and then just pull this whole thing out of here. So what we got here is I just got a rag under this because there's going to be more brake fluid coming out. These are an 11, I believe. I have a 10 and a 12, and they won't fit. The 12 is going to end up rounding it off, but what I do have is a 7/16, and that works just fine. It's not a tight fit, but it'll work. And for these, the biggest I have is an 18, but I do have a spanner or an adjustable wrench, whatever you want to call it, to crack those loose to get them off. So here we go. And yeah, I got a rag under here because more of that's going to come out, and you just don't want to get it all over everything. Pretty sure that brake fluid is corrosive. I know you don't want to get it on your paint because it will take the paint off. Alright, so we got the old master cylinder out of here. There's these two posts. I forgot to say, there are 12mm nuts with some lock washers on there, so don't drop those. This one does not have that linkage that I was thinking of, that you have to, some of them have it, some of them don't, where you have to disengage, or you have to unhook it on the other side of the firewall. This one does not have one, which is good. It's less stuff that I got to deal with. But we got the new one. Got these little pieces right here installed from the old one. Basically, I just take a spanner, put it on there, and hit it with a hammer until it cracks loose. And then I just put them on the new one, torque them down to spec, which the foot-pounds on that is yes. And then we're just going to put that back in there, bolt everything back in, and fill this up with new brake fluid and see how well that works. Alright, so we got the new master cylinder on. The clip did not want to go on there and stay on for some reason, so that little staple piece, I just kind of bent it in a little bit more and it stayed on pretty good. Got the air intake back on. We cleaned out the throttle body and then also cleaned the mass airflow sensor. There is cleaner for either one of those. Don't get them mixed up. You can damage this, the mass airflow sensor. Anyway, got the brakes pretty good. I'm gonna go pump them and see if that put any through the system, and I need to add. What else did we do? We got the camshaft position sensor in, so I'm hoping that that all makes this thing run so much better. So we're gonna take it out and see. So I did an absolutely dumb stupid guy move. So earlier I said I was not gonna bleed the brakes. What I meant was that I was not gonna bleed the brakes to get the excess brake fluid out of the reservoir when I changed out the master cylinder. Well, I changed the master cylinder and my brain was still in the mode of, we don't need to bleed the brakes. So I took off with air in the brake line, which gave me absolutely no brakes at all. Luckily I was only going like 5 miles an hour, but I did run a stop sign. And yeah, luckily it was not a busy street, but I did have to honk at someone to not go through, otherwise we were gonna collide. So when you change your master cylinder out, absolutely bleed all of the air out of your brake lines if you want to survive. And I'll show you how to do that. Alright, so they do make bleeder systems that you can buy. So basically you want to come over here where that's your brake line, and some of them will still have these rubber protector things on there. Basically just this nipple is where you can bleed the brakes from. So you can buy like a system to do it with, or you can just get an empty bottle, cut a hole in the top of the cap, put some of this clear tubing in there. I don't remember exactly what size it is, but basically if you get a too big of a size and you put it on the end of that, you can put a zip tie on to hold it on. This one's actually a little small for that one, so just put some needle nose pliers in there and just kind of pull it apart a little bit, and then it should go on there and stay on there pretty snug. Alright, so this one is a 10 mil. I'm not entirely sure if all of them are 10 millimeters, but basically what you're going to want to do is crack that loose and get it to give you your tool back. Just get that loose, and then this is how you would do it with one person. You can do it with two people. If you do it with two people, you step on the brake and then you close this, and then you let off the brake and then you open it, and then you step on the brake. Like, it's a back and forth thing, but I'm just going to do it with one person because that's all it's here. Just crack that open, go in there, pump the brakes a bunch of times, come over here and see if there's any air in your lines. And if there is air in your lines, keep pumping. If there's no air in your lines, lock that off and then take that off and you're good. All right, out here again tomorrow. Yes, I'm wearing the same clothes because dirty car. And something came in the mail, my oil temp sensor. So we're gonna take that off and replace it. If you don't remember, that was the one that, you know, clip was broke on it. I had to wrap it up with electric tape just to make it work. So we're gonna replace that. Another thing that I found out, so the camshaft position sensor that I had put in there did not fix the issues that I was dealing with. So one thing I found out is that if you have a clogged catalytic converter, it can be losing power because the circulation of air cannot, it can get in, but it's got nowhere to go out. So this setup has the catalytic converter and exhaust manifold as one. So I'm just going to take this whole thing off. There's 8 bolts on here, and then there's 2 on the bottom for the exhaust. So I'm going to take that off and see if this thing runs any better. This thing has 260,000 miles on it, so I'm pretty sure I'm just going to have to replace the catalytic converter on it anyway, because that's a lot of miles. So anyway, we're going to do that. Alright, so I got all 9 of the 14 millimeter nuts off. These top ones you can get off easy. These bottom ones here, you're going to need an extension and deep well sockets to get those off. You can take this off to get an extension in there, or there's just enough play in there to get it with with an actual wrench. So we're going to go under the car now and take the other 2 bolts that connects it to the exhaust. Alright, and down here on the bottom where it connects to the exhaust, you got 2 19 mil nuts on there that you're gonna have to take off with a deep well socket. And then we'll just take this whole thing out of here. Alright, so now that the exhaust manifold and cat is out, I can get to my oil temp sensor. I went ahead and just chopped that wire. This was getting rounded off. It's a 19. I just put a deep well 19 on it, and it was still hard to get out, but I finally got it out. And then we're gonna put this new one back in. Alright, we got the new oil temp sensor on there. I had to just jimmy rig that because it's broke. So, but at least it doesn't come out now. Thing is still running like trash. I don't know if I have a faulty camshaft position sensor that I bought. I just tested the load on the connector, and it's running fine. Getting the right voltage, so I might just have to buy another camshaft position sensor, pop that in there and see what's going on. I'm letting the cat soak overnight, and I'm gonna put that back on just until I get a new one, because it just needs a new one anyway. So yeah, so anyway, it's still running like trash. I'll figure it out at some point, and then I'll be able to drive this thing. Oh my god. Until next time.